We're joined now by Jeremy Rosenthal, defense attorney. First of all, belated Merry Christmas, early Happy New Year, Jeremy. How are you?
Same to you. Good morning. How are you?
We're doing well. Thanks very much. Appreciate you spending the time with us on this Thursday morning. So, a handful of new laws going to be taking effect in 2025, starting on January 1st. We're going to start with some of the more interesting ones and the good ones. Property tax relief. Tell us about Texas Senate Bill 2 that gives a little bit of assistance to property owners.
Just a little bit. Our taxes in Texas, if you haven't noticed, are based on our property and our property values and assessments, and it goes to the schools and the communities and wherever, right, from there. And the big rub has always been that it's the appraisal district that is the one that assesses your home value or your property value, and that can really fluctuate from year to year, right? And because Texas is so prosperous, what happens to some people's property taxes is they go through the roof. Just one day you're opening the mail and boom, there it is. So what they've enacted is a temporary measure, and you've also have to understand too, there's a lot of pressure in Austin from the cities, from the municipalities, from all these things on both ends. But what they came up with is a compromise that is what you would call a circuit breaker. At 10%, if your property is appraised at over 10% higher, it's capped there. So that's a little bit of tax relief for you if that's happening to you. Also, a 20% cap for appraisal for commercial property if it's under 20 million bucks, if there's a lot of you folks driving around in Houston, which I know where all the big money is in Texas. I'm in McKinney. But yes, in Houston, you got that going for you. So a little bit of property tax relief and streamlining.
All right, and every little bit counts. So that's good news. Let's talk about vehicle inspections as well. House Bill 3297 passed in 2023. It goes into effect now. No more vehicle inspections for some Texas drivers. Tell us about that.
That's right. This is going to be the one that I think impacts virtually everybody. So you no longer have to have your vehicle inspected and show that when you are renewing your registration. That's the good news. You do have to pay a $7.50 emission fee, and you do have to have a test for that if you live in a big county, which in the greater Houston area is going to include Harris, Brazoria, Fort Bend, Galveston, and Montgomery counties. Though if you live in those counties, you got to pay that $7.50. You got to get your emissions tested. But if you live anywhere else, go ahead and pollute away.
I'm trying to figure that out because that's the same thing in a lot of other states as well. And I don't quite understand it, Jeremy. I mean, if the state decides that pollution and emissions are a problem, how is it only a problem in certain counties but not others? I'll never understand that.
My guess, if I was a guess, and this is all this is, if you've ever been to Austin during the legislature time, you'll see just what you're kind of dealing with randomness. My guess is that it's an infrastructure problem. My guess is that there's probably some outlying counties that don't have the ability to comply with this. And this is probably their way of saying, well, we got to do something about emissions. And we know wherever Midland, Odessa, we know that you guys aren't ready yet. So maybe they're coming next. We'll see.
Yeah, it's weird. I know, like in Ohio, there's 88 counties. 7 of them have emissions testings, mandatory. The other ones not. And I'm just trying to figure out exactly how that really works. Let's move on to the Texas Data Privacy and Security Act. What can you tell us, Jeremy Rosenthal?
So with this one, Texas enacted a law that allows you to have, I think, security at your browser level. So that way you don't have to keep going to individual websites and opt out, opt out, opt out, opt out. That's my understanding of it. Also, you have the right to ask some of these carriers and providers that your information be deleted if you no longer want them to have it. It's always tricky when you're a state and you're trying to deal with big tech because big tech, they're in their big mansions, their big palaces, and let's face it, when they get a law from Iowa, Indiana, Ohio, Texas, Florida, wherever, they're like, what's this? Do we have to really deal with this? So there's always that enforcement rub of it. But the legislature in Texas is concerned about your privacy on the internet. So we've got this going for us.
It always strikes me as odd that the default mechanism for all of these is no privacy. You have to find a way to get privacy. You have to opt out, as you say. You have to make sure this isn't being tracked and so forth, rather than the other way around. So hopefully this will be a step in the right direction so that the default position will be privacy instead. Jeremy Rosenthal, defense attorney, breaking down some of the new laws that take effect on January 1st in the state of Texas. Jeremy, thank you so much. And again, a happy New Year to you, sir.
You too. Happy New Year.